How's it going everyone, and welcome back to my Modern Warfare 3 weapon guide video series. After taking a look at all those new battlefield weapons as part of the Close Quarters DLC, I thought it was about time that I switched back to Modern Warfare 3. I know quite a few Call of Duty fans have been asking for me to continue uploading Modern Warfare 3. I seem to be running short on weapons to feature as part of this weapon guide series. There's only a few LMGs and sniper rifles left to cover, so I thought I'd best move on to some of the secondaries just to spice things up a little bit. So the weapon we're going to look at today is one of the iconic weapons of Modern Warfare 3. It's one that we'll definitely associate with the game when looking back well into the future. So that weapon is the FMG9, the 9mm folding machine gun by Magpul. The FMG9 is a secondary weapon in Modern Warfare 3 and it's found in the machine pistol category, and it's a weapon you get your hands on right at the start of the game after level 2. So let's get started with this guide and take a look at some of the FMG9's general features. Its damage figures come in at 40 to 20, which is pretty good to say this weapon is a secondary weapon, and 40 damage up close dropping off to 20 is actually more powerful than some of the submachine guns. This means you're going to get your kills in 3 to 5 shots, with the headshot multiplier dropping those shots to kill down to 2 or 4 between short and long ranges. The FMG9 does have a very fast rate of fire, which doesn't help its recoil, and as you can see by the recoil spread, it kicks in a continuous upwards direction until you've exhausted the magazine. And as you can see, the iron sights are quite simple, but they do the job nicely. So moving on to some more detailed stats of the FMG9, fire mode is automatic. It's got that fast aiming speed of 0.2 seconds. Like I mentioned, the FMG9 has a very fast rate of fire, clocking in at 1034 rounds per minute. Its reload time is 2.73 seconds, which is the slowest out of all the machine pistols. And to finish off its stats, the FMG9 comes out on top in terms of magazine size, with 36 rounds to spare. You've only got the MP9, which weighs in at 32 rounds before you drop off to a lowly 20 rounds of the G18 and Scorpion. So I'm sure we're all familiar with the FMG9 from our experiences in game. The infamous FMG9 has been widely dubbed as overpowered, and it's gone through quite a few changes in recent patches. No matter what game mode you play in, you'll always find someone running around using the FMG9 as a primary weapon, most often dual wielding 2 of these things using the akimbo attachment. Despite it being a secondary weapon in Modern Warfare 3, the FMG9 is actually more suited to being used as a primary weapon. First of all, you've got those damage figures which are actually higher than some of the submachine guns. You've got that 36 round magazine size, which again is higher than some of the SMGs. And you've also got to factor in that the FMG9's got that slow initial swap speed, so you've got to allow for that animation where the character unfolds this weapon to play through before you can actually use it. So usually a secondary weapon would kind of be used as a last resort. If you've just exhausted your magazine and your primary weapon, you want to switch out to your handgun or your machine pistol just to finish off any bad guys. With the FMG9, if you switch to this thing in a hot firefight, you'll just be left with your pants down, having to flip this thing out before being able to use it. So all in all, that's another vote for using this weapon as primary, since at the start of every new life you can just switch to this weapon and get the animation played through, and then you've got the rest of your life to run around and blaze people down. I remember when the game first came out, akimbo FMG9s were absolutely deadly. I think since then the patches made the FMG9s have a slower fire rate, at least it seems that way in game. And when you combine a dual wielded machine pistol that spews out over 1000 rounds per minute with 40 damage up close, with a 36 round magazine size, so multiplied by 2 since it's dual wielded, making that 72 rounds, with the tight hipfire spread of the machine pistols, plus the help of steady aim, it definitely made it one super overpowered weapon. Even needing 5 shots to kill at long range, with the help of steady aim and the overall pretty precise hipfire accuracy, you could easily take people out with plenty of bullets to spare. Whether this weapon's overpowered nowadays, I'm not too sure. I guess after all the changes they've made in patches, and considering that using this weapon as a secondary, you're at a disadvantage with that fold out animation that has to play through. There's no denying that this is one of the most powerful weapons in the game though, and as we've seen by the stats, it's obviously more powerful than many of the primary weapons. So let's finish off this guide with a look at some of my recommendations of attachments for your FMG9 in game. We've already talked about how powerful akimbo FMG9s are. I'm sure we've all experienced in game how deadly they can be, especially when in the enemy's hands. There's nothing more frustrating than being dropped in a split second by some guy running around with these things as primaries. So just be warned, if you are planning to use akimbo FMG9s in game, then you're likely to be abused by all the other players in the lobby, since they're widely dubbed as being overpowered, and people tend to take an immediate dislike to anyone using them. If you want to use a setup of the FMG9s that are slightly less overpowered, you might want to consider extended mags. Extended mags is going to increase the already large magazine size of 36 rounds up to 54, which is going to give you plenty of bullets to spray towards huge groups of bad guys. Extended mags is one of those attachments that doesn't affect the swap rate, whereas akimbo attachments, you've got two of these things to kind of play that flip animation with. So extended mags, in my opinion, is the best attachment to go for if you are using your FMG9 as a secondary weapon. Not only do you use secondary weapons just to finish off bad guys if you run out of bullets in your primary's magazine, but if you've exhausted all your ammo supply for your primary, then extended mags on your FMG9 is just going to allow you to go on those extended kill streaks. And finally, if you're wanting to use the FMG9 as more of an all-purpose weapon, then the red dot sight is just going to allow you to acquire your targets a little bit easier in comparison to the iron sights. So that's about it for my guide to the FMG9 in Modern Warfare 3. If you're glad to see my Call of Duty videos return after that recent focus on Battlefield 3, drop a thumbs up down below just to help the video along with some extra exposure. Let me know down in the comments which secondary weapon you're looking forward to seeing me cover. Otherwise, thanks for watching, I'll catch you all later.